welcome to another episode of Sustainable Solutions with Planet Aid, the podcast that explores sustainable solutions for the most pressing issues facing our planet and communities today. I'm Planet Aid's Communications Manager, Haley Chitty, and I'm going to turn it over to our host, Planet Aid's Communication and Content Specialist, Monica Johnson, and I'm going to jump in later to ask a few follow-up questions. Monica, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Haley, and welcome to Sustainable Solutions with Planet Aid. I'm Monica Johnson, and I'm going to be your guide for this journey as we take challenging situations and try to simplify them. And it's also an opportunity to learn from incredible individuals and organizations at the forefront of developing and implementing sustainable solutions. Change is not only possible, but essential, and it begins with understanding. And today we're going to be talking to Owen Shaw, founder and CEO of Handover. And Handover is an edu-verified campus app that lets students connect, trade, and collaborate in one space. And it replaces unorganized group chats and sketchy classifieds. Ratings keep deals fair, and every user is someone with a school email that they might see in class. Because most listings are gently used textbooks, clothes, or furniture, each transaction keeps money and waste out of the landfill and inside the campus community. It's a simple idea that makes college life a lot easier, and in the process, it helps students look out for the planet and one another. So this is pretty interesting. Let's hear more about this, and welcome to you, Owen.
Thank you so much. Thank you both for having me.
Sure.
Yeah, so I decided to start Handover, and I came up with this idea during university, and there were a bunch of instances where I wanted to sell my furniture, sell my clothes, look for roommates, look for off-campus housing, and do that with other students. And I found that Facebook Marketplace was kind of the only place to do it with a lot of students that were using it. But it didn't really do the job that I wanted it to. It was pretty cluttered, and there were also random people, not students, on the platform. And so there were, several instances where a friend of mine ended up meeting with some random person, and just the transaction didn't go as planned. And so, we wanted a safe, inclusive space for all students to basically recycle and reuse and interact with students in college.
Well, and that's very important, actually. Definitely the safety part of it, especially in these days. So this is called an edu-verified app. Can you explain what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so we make sure that every student is a verified student. And so essentially that just means that we verify their student email. So they have to sign up with their university specific email so that they're connected to that university's handover account, essentially. And so once they sign up with their school email, they're connected to all those students that sign up with that same school email.
Okay, so tell us why the Handover app would be considered a sustainable solution.
Yeah. So the whole goal, I mean, I've always been into environmentalism and, saving the planet. And I always, it wasn't just that I couldn't find a good place to buy and sell furniture, textbooks, all these different things. I also noticed at the end of every semester, there would be so much waste that would be collected and basically just put in dumpsters at the end of each semester that was honestly perfectly good stuff. People honestly sometimes from outside of the school would just come and take the stuff from the dumpsters because of how
Wasteful.
decent, wasteful, and also decent quality, the garbage was. Because it's not really garbage. I mean, it's been used maybe for a year, maybe 2 years, lightly used, and students just don't want to ship it home or don't want to put it in storage. And yeah, so it's perfectly good stuff. And, it's billions of tons of waste, happen all over the world with just university markets. And I thought that there was a better way to, recycle this waste because most of it's perfectly good. And I think students really pay attention when it's people that they know. And when it's people that they know, they're like, well, my friend is selling a furniture. Like, maybe that's a good option for me rather than buying a new one. And so, that's the, promotion of sustainability that we try to
That's
offer.
a great idea, and I really want to come back to the wastefulness on universities. But let me ask you just another question: what's the process for getting this app on college campuses and offering this to service their students? And how do you promote it as well?
Yeah, so right now we just launched a social media. So we are working with students, ambassadors, and I have a couple people working on the marketing side. And essentially, the whole goal of the marketing is to promote, you know, what Hanover stands for, and not only to promote what Hanover stands for, but to help students and give them an outlet for help, honestly. So it's not just about the promotional aspect of Handover, but it's about helping students like look for internships, like advice for internships or advice for jobs, things like that. So that's what the social media is doing, is just like being an outlet for students and, you know, helping them with advice, helping them connect with other people. And so that's one of the outlets. The
Yeah, I
other
love.
outlet is how we started is I would literally go to campuses and give out free coffee or whatever it was just to get the initial spark. And then once people saw that the idea was really for them and it wasn't necessarily a promotional, app that was trying to, sell them something. It's
Something
really just
sketchy.
for them because it's completely free. It doesn't cost them anything. It only helps them. So once they saw that it was, a good resource, it started to grow from there. And most of our growth, actually 95%, has been word of mouth. The other 5% is the social media and stuff like that.
Very good.
But on-campus presence is how I started it, and it will transition into a little bit more of the, online presence because I won't be able to go to each campus specifically across the nation, but I'm going to go to as many as possible.
Very good. Zero waste is a big thing on college campuses, from food waste to energy efficiency. Some of that is fed by incentives like federal grants and EPA grants. How is that a boon to your cause of helping schools incorporate this app? And does it make it any easier because they're looking for these kinds of programs?
It does, absolutely. That's been one of my goals of the summer, is to look for as many of these grants as possible and work with schools. And that's one of the ideas that I have for next semester when we start to implement all these different ideas, is working with the school itself, because schools want a safe place for students to interact with each other and transact with each other. And schools also want to be sustainable. And so, it's kind of a win-win both for students and the university. And so I think, I didn't start working with the school, but I think it'll be beneficial to both the university and the students if I do work with the school directly. So that's the plan moving forward. And we're going to experiment with Northwestern. We're going to do that first at Northwestern. And then once that's all, figured out, then we're probably going to roll that into many other schools as well. The goal of next semester is to reach about 20 to 30 different universities.
Very good. Wow. Ambitious, but very good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Many, many moons ago, I lived off campus during my college years. So I never experienced move out. And move out is just such a thing.
So you said off campus?
I lived off campus is what I'm
Okay.
saying,
Yeah.
during my college years, but I never experienced move out, of course, because that's the time where the college students come off campus. And what you were referring to earlier was the amount of waste that happens, especially around the time of move out. And, I know this probably mostly because I work for a university here in Maryland. And I learned a lot about the problem of waste and what's left in the dorms or just thrown away at the end of the year, ranging from like electronics to clothes, just very expensive things as well. So colleges and universities really have to have a plan for that. But what I love about this is that some of the power is put into the students' hands to make a responsible decision that they can take throughout the year. So what do you think about that? I'm imagining there's some idealism with this app to help students become conscious consumers and sellers.
Yeah. So you said off campus, and actually, a lot of the waste comes from off campus. It's not just in the dorm itself.
Well,
Because students, a lot of these rentals are empty, and so they have to buy all of this furniture for the rentals, and a lot of times students are going across the country to go to school, and it actually costs them more money to ship all of their furniture that they've purchased back home or store it somewhere or whatever it is than to just throw it away or deal with selling it, but maybe not selling everything. And so, a lot of that waste comes from off-campus market. Actually, I think the majority of it does.
Wow.
So, because it's all of the furniture to house a home theoretically.
Mhm. That's really good. I really never ever really thought about that because, working on a university, we're dealing with the university students. But yeah, that's great. So this is a very practical app because it helps students also participate in like a community of like-minded individuals on campus,
Exactly.
and you're telling me off campus as well, who want to
Exactly.
be either sell their items rather than throw them away. There are a few things about that. The sellers, even if they're not aware, they're participating in the circular economy and keeping these usable items out of the landfill, keeping them in use.
Exactly.
They're also getting to exercise good stewardship over what happens to these items and sort of puts them in the mind. It kind of actually puts me in the mind of producer responsibility. Even though they don't make the products they're selling, they actually have a sense of responsibility for what happens to that
Correct.
particular product or whatever they're selling. And on the other side, the app is also offering buyers a way not to have add to the consumption rates like you were talking about for yourself. You had that desire, but nothing was really fulfilling that desire as far as how you
Correct.
would sell. So, and there are viable options to purchase something out there that already exists. So,
Yeah.
what is some of the feedback that you're receiving about this app from the students? What are the things that you're
Just
receiving?
before I answered that question, I just wanted to completely agree with you that students like are they're not totally sure about. I mean, a lot of them are, but not all of them are environmentally conscious or thinking about, oh, this is so wasteful when they throw something in the dumpster. They're not like consciously thinking about that. Some of them are,
Right.
some of them aren't. And this kind of allows them to be environmentally friendly without really knowing it. And while they can also, theoretically make a profit or not a profit, but, make money back on their purchased item that they are just going to throw out otherwise. And there's also an option to give it away for free as well, so that, if students just want to give something away, they can also do that. Someone else can come pick it up.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, so it really just benefits students and the environment kind of simultaneously without students necessarily being conscious that they're really doing that. So sorry, the question you asked before
No,
I went
so
back.
sure. That's fine. What's some of the feedback that you've received about this app from the students?
Yeah, so I actually have a pretty cool anecdote. When I first launched at Delaware, with the University of Delaware, I was debating on what to do and how to launch it properly. And I wanted to start small because I was still in beta test, and wanted to make sure the app was working properly before I, decided that I wanted everyone on campus to be using it. And so I had an ambassador there that I knew previously. And so I met with her and she downloaded the app and we posted a couple listings that she had for sale and she was like, "Oh, this is actually such a good idea. This is going to be super super easy to tell my friends about because we need something like this."
Yeah.
And after she left, we were just having lunch at a cafe. I realized that there was something wrong with the app, and I just wanted to quickly see if it was, not working well on, the consumer side. And so I just walked up to two students who were just sitting down. I asked them nicely if they could, download the app and see if this one issue was, an issue for them. And it turns out it was. So I fixed it really quickly, and then we ended up just talking a little bit more. And I guess while I was working on fixing the issue, they had been perusing the app and checking it out, and they were like, "Hey, like, this is so cool. Like, I'm so happy you told us about this. I think that this could be really successful at the University of Delaware, and I'll tell my friends about it." So it's I've gotten a lot of that feedback, a lot of the positive. Wow, like this is so cool. I wish that we had this, when we were freshmen, or I wish that we had this before, because of how useful it is for students, and it just fills a gap that currently doesn't. There's no platform that does what we do in
Yeah.
the way that we do it.
And tell me a little bit about this ambassador program. What exactly is that about?
Well, I mean, it's next semester. It's going to be a little bit more in depth in terms of like how many ambassadors we have. So right now it's only a few, and that just means spreading the word, maybe putting up some posters about Handover, things just like it's essentially just spreading the word. And also they will get to have, like essentially an internship on their resume as well.
Great.
So exactly. So, working for a startup is pretty useful in the job market. And so we take applications for the ambassador program and, work with students to just reach their local communities. And that's honestly one of the biggest ways that we're planning on expanding to 20 to 30 campuses next semester
Very
is
good.
through the ambassador program.
Very good. And what have you also been hearing from the universities?
I have a bunch of meetings coming up in the next couple days, few weeks
Right.
with two universities, and so far the feedback from them has been amazing. They're saying, wow, like, we want to hear more about this. This could be really useful for us and for students in the whole safety world while also being sustainable. That, so far, I mean, the feedback from them has been really, really positive. So I'm looking forward to continuing that positive track to getting, as many campuses on board as possible.
Good. So, I mean, so what you're really working on is like formalizing relationships now. Very good. Okay. Well, actually, Haley, I want to turn it over to you because I know you have some questions about it.
Always, always. Such a fascinating subject here. I mean, from my perspective, it seems like a real win for the students and, who obviously benefit from cheaper used, access to cheaper used materials maybe than they otherwise would. Benefit for the campus and then benefit for the community in terms of not overwhelming the landfill. I'm just wondering, we talk about sustainability from the environmental side on this podcast. We also talk about it from the sustainability of the organization. So I'm just wondering how the organization raises funds and that sort of thing. What's the model for keeping the business sustainable?
Keeping it sustainable as in,
And that it's going to be around in 5, 10 years. How are you paying the bills and keeping the lights on?
yeah, so I mean, one of our revenue models actually works with hyper local vendors. So, for example, if students, if they don't have laundry in their apartment and they want to look up a laundromat, we can, work with that specific laundromat that's around campus and help students and help the laundromat, help students know where the laundromat is, and then obviously help the laundromat connect with students that are in that area. So we're going to do a lot of that, work with coffee shops, work with local cafes and all these different businesses that are just around campus, and then they're going to pay us to promote to students. And it's also a mutually beneficial ad because students want to see these businesses, and a lot of times these businesses are giving deals to students, and we're going to advertise that on Handover as well. So that's one of the revenue models.
Cool. And then I'm just wondering kind of the scale of it now. You said you were looking to expand to 20, 30 schools this year. Is this something you want to roll out across the whole country? How hard is it to scale? I guess that's my main question is how hard is it to scale up? It seems like with an app like this, once you sort of hit a certain tipping point, it just kind of goes. But that might be my own lack of
No, you're
understanding.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, the hardest part was this semester. This was the beta semester, figuring out what students were using, what they weren't using, getting a bunch of feedback, and then just right now, I'm just iterating on that feedback that we gathered from this past semester, and most of it, I would say 82% ish, has been positive feedback. And some students came up with some great ideas that they would love to see on the app, and we're gonna work with them and see if those are possible. And like you said, once Handover becomes a name that students are like, hey, like, why don't you just go sell your couch on Handover, it'll start to snowball. Once we reach about 15 schools, I think that the word will start to get out pretty quickly.
I mean, it does seem like a great opportunity. Like Monica was saying, this end of semester, end of year is such a transitional
Mhm.
period. And it seems like in these times of transition, people are more apt to waste. They need to throw something away. They can't keep it. Um,
And students sometimes, I mean, I had a couple friends like this too. They're just kind of like, they just don't want to deal with it.
right.
They just want to be done with it and then go home. And if another student sees their couch on Handover and then goes to pick it up for them, they're going to be so happy that they didn't have to, move it themselves. And, even if it's just to the dumpster. So, this kind of just, it's really helpful to all students and creates that circular economy within that campus community.
Yeah, such a critical point to try to take advantage of, I think. So I really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. identifying that. Is there inter-campus trading at all, or is that something, I know that out
So
here,
yeah,
like in
so
Baltimore, they have schools that
so
are.
as of right now, no. As of right now, it's just specific to each university. But in towns like Boston, where there is just a bunch of schools within, a small area, we're probably gonna do inter-college, trading and stuff like that. But that's still just a maybe. That was one of the suggestions that some students had this past semester was, can we trade with other campuses? And so, we're gonna play around with that and see what works. It's undecided at the moment, but I think that could be a good option, to just create more
Mhm.
flow of, buying and selling within campuses.
You have an evolving model right now.
Exactly. I mean, that's what every startup really is at the end of the day,
Hmm.
is just constantly iterating, constantly evolving, and just doing what's best for the consumer. And right now, the consumer is the college student. So just helping college students as much as possible.
So if I was a campus that wanted to adopt this, what's the steps? Is it fairly pain-free, easy, or I'm just wondering what's involved for a campus that would.
But I mean, it's as simple as just saying to students, hey, like, this is where you should, sell your furniture, sell your clothing, sell your textbooks. And the one slight hurdle, I guess, is that, campuses sometimes want to, sell new textbooks at the textbook at, the bookstore. So but I think that they would rather promote sustainability. So if their students are saving money while being sustainable, I think that they would rather that than making slightly more money at the bookstore. Because at the end of the day, some students are just going to buy new books. That's just because they want new books. Most don't want to do that, but some are going to inevitably. But yeah, for the university, it's really just promoting, Handover, and we give them the platform, to help their students, transact safely and connect with each other in a way that is good in their eyes.
So really low to no cost, maybe some
Correct.
promotion to get it moving.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it cost them nothing essentially.
Yeah. Cool. Let me see. I had one more question. I think. Oh yeah, sort of random. Do you have a anecdotal story about something odd that's been put up or handed over or sold on the app? I can imagine some weird stuff, or just maybe not weird, but things you wouldn't think about. There's obviously textbooks and clothes and couches. I'm thinking
You
like
know,
fish or.
this is not really that weird. We have had, a bunch, of transactions, but I think that there probably will be, significantly more weird things in the future. But one person put up like the insides of a computer. So like the actual like technical parts of like not the computer, just the pieces of the computer
Yeah.
selling. I think he was a like a computer science student or
I was
something
gonna
like
say
that.
some IT
Yeah,
student's gonna be happy.
exactly. It still hasn't sold, but I did see that pop up, and it was the innards of a computer essentially. And it was all of the parts too. It
Mm.
specifically said, interior of X computer, just without the actual monitor and everything else. And the keyboard and etc. Just the
That's
the
awesome
interior
because
of the.
somebody's going to actually build a computer from that probably.
Correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct. I actually spoke with him because I was curious about it, and because he also really enjoyed posting it on Handover, and he said that he's upgrading his computer, so he was selling the old parts to his old one and buying new parts to the new computer, so it's faster.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just a final thought, I think one thing I like about this whole thing is college can be, or at least seem, inaccessible. And
Hmm.
one piece of that is all the stuff you need to live. And so this provides an opportunity to get that one in a sustainable way, but then I imagine also at a cheaper price. I'm just
Correct.
wondering what kind of pricing trends you're seeing on there. Does it seem like it's good deals, or is it mostly people just want to get rid of stuff?
Yeah. In fact, it's the deals are so good that I myself am like, oh well, this is if I went to this school, like I would want that, bar stool or whatever it is. One girl I think posted like three different bar stools, and I was furnishing, my house with my roommate at the time, and we like needed 3 bar stools. And I couldn't really find anything on Facebook Marketplace, and I couldn't really find anything new for under $200. And this girl was posting it for $15 for 3. So obviously I didn't buy it because I can't, I'm not a student. But it was nice. So the pricing is very, very solid. I think it also fluctuates depending on the student. Some students really just want to get rid of it. They want to maybe make a few dollars, sometimes even free. And some students are really like, oh, I want $400 for this item. But I think most of the students just want to, give it
Get
away
rid of
for
it.
a cheap cost and get something rather than nothing.
And hopefully, in the long term, reduce the need to manufacture new stuff. I mean, I think,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, that's one thing we can always kind of lose sight of is that
Hmm.
ideally, if we're using this stuff, then we don't have to use
Yeah,
all the resource intensive manufacturing for new items.
exactly. I mean, like I said before, these products, this furniture, whatever it is that they buy during their campus years, it's only used for like 1 to 4 years essentially. And most likely the products are going to be good for 8 years or 10 years, depending on the item that it is. And so it's just very wasteful that a lot of it gets thrown out. So yeah, just maintaining this circular system is, I think, super important and beneficial to the world and also to students. And it will be beneficial to them in the future once they get older and see that they did make a difference in helping the environment.
Yeah, we always say, just small steps taken together and we can have a big impact. So here's
Yeah, exactly. It's
one
it's
more
hard
little
to
piece of
see in the
this.
moment what you do. It's really difficult to see, like, recycling one thing or deciding to pick something up off the street or whatever it is. It's hard to see what that it does impact full like in the moment. But if you keep doing that and everyone does that, it's massive. And if Handover gets you know, national attention and goes to each campus nationally, then my vision is that, campuses will become significantly more eco-friendly and just recycle items way more than they are now.
More affordable for students.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Very
That's all
good.
I had, Monica. I can throw
Yeah,
it back over to you.
sure. Just also, how can people find out more about the Handover app? Where can they find it?
Sweet. Yeah, we have a website. So it's handoverapp.co.co, and we're on the App Store at Handover U. So it's just Handover U. As stands for like Handover University essentially. Um, and on the social media is handover.app. So we're on Instagram at handover.app as well as TikTok. So I can, send you guys my handles, and we can put those up as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we want to thank Owen Shaw for joining us for this episode of Sustainable Solutions with Planet Aid and for giving us all this very useful information about the Handover app. Thank you, Owen.
Thank
And
you.
we also want to thank you for making us a part of your day, your ride, whether you're in the car driving or coming from work, wherever you listen. We hope you've been inspired by the ideas that we've explored today. And we encourage you to search for sustainable solutions that you can pursue so that you can be a good steward in your neck of the woods and beyond. Haley?
All right. Thank you, Monica. A few reminders for our listeners. If you want to stay connected with us and stay informed, don't forget to subscribe. Please share with your friends and family and colleagues. As we were talking about earlier, together we can make a big difference by taking some small steps together. And remember, change starts with awareness and action. So let's keep the conversation going. Feel free to reach out to us on social media or through our website and share your thoughts, ideas, and stories. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, it's a big world out there, but every small change counts. Together, we can build a better, more sustainable future. Thanks much.